Thank you. Good evening, everybody. This is the Auburn Finance Committee. Today is July 10th, 2024. It's 5:30 p.m. On today's agenda, we have some potential transfers, some review of some transfers, minutes, and then we'll adjourn. We're going to read the remote participation script. This open meeting of the Town of Auburn Finance Committee is being conducted both in person and remotely, consistent with Chapter 107 of the Acts of 2022, which suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed to participate remotely as long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. For the public to join the meeting remotely by telephone, it's 1-786-535-3211 with an access code of 991-599-357. Or the public can join via computer at global.gotomeeting.com/join/991-599-357. All supporting materials that have been provided to members of this body are available on the town's website. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. Please note that this meeting is being recorded by Auburn Cable Television. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda participating remotely or in person are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Ed Coleman.
Here.
Michael Marshall.
Here.
Patrick Jones.
Here.
And Stephen Consilio.
Here.
Town officials and employees participating, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. CFO, Town Accountant Karen Harnoy.
Here.
Thank you. We'll move right into the agenda for the transfers. Okay, the first two we have are from the FY25. First one is a request for transfer from the reserve account. It's noted as salary reserve, requested by the Treasurer Collectors Department. Named from the certification stipend. The amount requested $1,000. The reason given for the shortage in the account is stated as stipend for assistant treasurer/collector due to achieving certification status as a Massachusetts municipal assistant treasurer. Do we have any questions of the,
Is this contractual?
It is not contractual, but there are several others that have achieved the status that also get the stipend.
Motion to approve?
Second.
okay, we have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The next one also FY25 is a request for interdepartmental transfer from the Finance Committee. This is coming from the assessor clerical account. The amount requested $1,183. It is going to the treasurer/collector clerical account. And the reason given for part-time coverage in treasurer/collector's office due to employee absence. Assessor clerical position is vacant until 8/5/24. We do have our I'm sorry, the title, I'm gonna,
Treasurer
treasurer
collector.
with us, if anybody had any questions of the treasurer?
Well, I just have a question because it's coming from an assessor clerical. We're crossing departments. So is that possible to move a payroll line from one department to another? Isn't it usually within a department, or are they all considered in finance?
Well, it's definitely considered part of the finance department, but you can go from department to department.
So these,
Or it's division to division
so
within
this
the
is more
department.
one division, what, two departments within one division?
Correct,
Okay.
yes.
Any other questions on this request?
My only other question is, we have two coming from the same accounts and going into the same accounts? Is there a distinction between the two transfers?
Yes, there's a different reason for the second one.
So the other one is, okay. Motion to approve?
Second.
A motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The next one is also coming from assessor clerical, amount requested $428, also going to the treasurer/collector clerical account. Reason given to cover temporary increase in clerical salary due to employee absence.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oops.
I'm sorry, you do have one more. I didn't mean to rush you up. So this is it from FY '24, from the treasurer collector, coming from the interest on abatements account. Amount requested $1,750. It is going to the bill printing account. Reason given to pay for additional FY '24 bill printing expenses. Any questions?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Next one is coming from the certification of notes account. Amount requested $116.79. This one is also going to bill printing for the same reason, to pay for additional FY '24 bill printing expenses. Any
Motion
questions?
to approve?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Can I just interject for next year? In the new budget coming up, have we accounted for these increases?
Oh, she already left? I believe that she did.
Okay. We'll find out next year.
Okay. Another FY '24. This one from DPW Highway. This one's coming from the wages account. Amount requested $3,814.31, going to the building maintenance account. Reason given, unexpected invoice for repairs. Nick, you just want to give us some background on what those unexpected
thank you.
invoices may have been?
Nick Schwartz, DPW. So back in January or February, we had an emergency repair of our heating system in the DPW garage. I believe it was either during a storm or right before one of the storms. They never actually sent us the invoice until just recently, and I guess it got missed. So that was never encumbered. So this is to cover for the cost of that.
Any questions related to this request?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
And the last one is from Auburn Community Television. This one is another FY '24, coming from the contingency account. The amount requested $700, going to the part-time wages account. The reason given, to cover part-time wages through 6/30/24. Any questions on this one?
Didn't we approve this at the last meeting already?
I believe it was discussed in the event that it was going to be the only one, and there was a discussion about authorization, but I believe, am I correct in that?
Correct, yes. If it was the only one, then I would let you know, but there were a few others. So I figured I'd bring it in front of the committee.
Motion to approve?
Second.
I'm sorry, we have the motion. All in favor? Thank you. That is all the transfers we have. We had a couple transfers that the CFO, that were up to the $250 mark, she approved. They don't have any questions on that. And there are no minutes for this evening. Any additional questions, matters? Yes, sir.
I just want to follow up. We're going into fiscal year '25, and we still seem to be participating in this remote participation meeting, open meeting, I think generated by the state. Is that falling into fiscal year '25, or can we get an update on whether we can just go live and not have to continually do this remote? Since 2025 was, or 2024 and part of '23, most of the nation tried to move at some sense of normalcy. And many people have moved away from this whole remote. You know, it takes up a chunk of the meeting, there's a lot involved. So I'm just wondering if we can get a update at the next meeting on whether this is still a current need, and for how, when it would be renewed.
I agree.
I will.
I think there was a point that the legislature had extended that.
But I thought it was only through fiscal year '24, and
There
it's
was a
now
date.
finished.
I forget what it was. I
I
mean,
thought it was only for a year or two.
and I don't object with the public being able to, another mechanism by which they can monitor meetings, but I
Right.
think the participation component is, I agree, it's probably seen its time, not necessarily.
Again, it's just going with a concept that the most of the world is trying to get back to some sense of normalcy.
No, I
And I
understand.
think,
I
you
will
know-
provide you with an update.
Yeah.
Check on that.
Thank you.
I I have a question on that, on the first one we did, since it's 2025, on the transfer for the stipend.
Yep.
And that came out of the reserve fund. But since we're at the beginning of the year, wouldn't that logically come out of wages, or like, I'm kind of trying to figure out, like, because that was a human resources decision to pay the stipend, right? And the budget is the budget. So, and we're at the beginning of the year, so I'm wondering why we would take the money from the reserve account, not from the wages account, and then at the end of the year, decide what the, because the wages, we got 12 months to go, that it would just come out of the wages account as the general thing, instead of doing a separate tapping the reserve fund.
Well, couple things on that. The amount, the assistant treasurer collector was certified, I believe it was in April, or is when the budget was already put together. So we wouldn't want to take it from a wages or some other account, because that would short that account as well, because we do salary encumbrances, which put it out, which, do the calculations out through the end of the fiscal year, so it's always going to show as that continues. If we charge something to a place that doesn't have the money, it's just going to show as negative. So I figured, because of the fact that it wasn't known at the time of the budget, and I want to just make the budget whole and correct as of this point, that we would take it from the salary reserve. But I suppose the other option would have been, we could have waited to the fall town meeting, and we could have put some, some additional, to see if we have any additional capacity then. But I just figured, just to have everything in place, that it would be good to do it now.
I mean, it's just like, because we paid, for temporary help, and then you have wages because the person that was in the job isn't there. So it just seems to me that the wages is always kind of not an exact number anyway, especially at the beginning of the year.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You know
yeah.
what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
why wouldn't we just leave? I don't know, does this get paid out in a lump sum, or is this divided out?
It's paid weekly.
So, all the more reason, I think. It would just make more sense to me, but you're in charge.
No, I kind of agree. It kind of caught my eye too, and this early in the year to be going into the reserve, but I guess I would hope, and I certainly applaud people for going back to get certifications and the professionalism and all the intricacies of the law, to ensure they're doing things correctly. But if they know you've got people in process and your staff that are going to attain certifications that are going to incur a stipend of some sort of beyond it, they should be planning to say, oh, I've got, if this person's going to go for another certification next year, which would be another stipend, it should be planned in the year going forward. So it's there. Just as it's things are going to be tight in the coming years. We're not going to have so much flexibility as we've had in past years. So it's just.
Well, the other thing is, too, you do have to pass a test for the certification. So if you try to go for it and then you don't pass it, then you don't get it, and then you don't get the extra funds, and then there will be a little bit left over in there. So, it's kind of a double edge there.
Would it be fair to make the observation that the HR department is fully staffed, and so all the budget lines and the salary accounts are spoken for, so it didn't look like there was any immediate room to transfer excess? For instance, if you have one staff position that isn't filled, it would have made sense, as he's pointing out, to have transferred from there, because you're already 50 weeks into a 52-year budget that is going to have access into it. So that's how I sort of viewed it.
Well, if you're talking about are you referring to the employee absence? Because the employee is actually getting paid. So it's not an unpaid leave, it's a paid leave.
Okay. So the money's being accounted for out of the budget line anyway.
Yeah, so it's not available there.
That helps
That's why
clarify
we
it,
went
sure.
into the, we were looking at the assessors, Ed and I were talking about that. And they're like, well, there is a a vacancy there right now, so we could move on the other one, move into there for that.
Well, generically, since we're at the end of the year, and this is my first time, what happens to all of the monies? I should know this from my training, but I'm going to ask anyway. What happens to all of the monies that don't actually get spent? Does that all just drop into the reserve account, or how does that go
Well, it closes into the general fund,
to the general
and that's
fund?
what becomes part of the pieces of the free cash that gets certified.
additional questions for this evening?
Just give us July and August off.
That's my plan. I don't see anything right now that we should have to call
And
a
part- and
meeting
part of
for,
September,
so,
she's going to be,
yeah, so part of
Yeah.
September.
okay.
Oh,
No
sounds
further questions? Anybody have a motion to adjourn this evening?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion and a second to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.